Happening now, what a drug expert says legal marijuana will do to teens in Chautauqua County. Plus, New York's vaccine mandate for healthcare workers could lead to some staffing issues at hospitals and nursing homes. How local facilities are impacted next.
Well, as we mentioned yesterday, summer is not over. We've still got some summer air to go through, and we'll talk about it in detail next as the News at Noon starts right now.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now. This is WNY News Now with live breaking news.
The city of Jamestown's Ward 5 councilman says he will not seek re-election this fall. Thanks for joining us for WNY News Now, and we start with breaking news. Councilman Grant Olson, who was elected to his first term in 2019, announced the news this morning. Olson, in a statement, says a lot has changed in his life in the past few years, and he plans to step away to reorganize his priorities. As a young professional and father, he says his time is increasingly limited and is the primary reason for him stepping away. He thanks his constituents, especially those who took time to reach out to him over the past years. The Republican was running against Democrat Doug Lawson for re-election this fall. However, unless another GOP candidate comes forward, Lawson would likely win the ward. Sticking with election 2021, Chautauqua County Clerk Larry Barmore says some of his criticism he received from constituents in the last year was warranted, while some of it unfair. Barmore spoke with us yesterday in an effort to learn more about his re-election campaign. The criticism in particular stems from the way the department, and in particular the Department of Motor Vehicles, operated as the COVID pandemic began. The incumbent Republican explains how he and his staff attempted to accommodate those who needed the county clerk's services despite restrictions levied from former Governor Andrew Cuomo and other officials in Albany.
I spent several weeks, most of every day, in my car driving to people's houses, picking up their paperwork to put a car on the road, driving it down to the DMV, taking it in because no one was allowed in the DMV, having one of my clerks handle the paperwork for them, and then driving it back to their house so they could get the car back on the road.
Wow.
I mean, it's just one of those things that, you know, nobody saw other than me and the person whose house I was driving to. But, you know, we did what we had to do.
Barmore is being challenged this fall by Fredonia Democrat David Sally. New York's governor responding to concerns the state COVID-19 vaccination requirement is leading to staffing issues at hospitals and nursing homes, saying she won't let the facilities go unstaffed. Our Julia Gress has more on this growing concern here locally.
New York Governor Kathy Hochul previously issued an order that, starting on September 27th, staff at hospitals and nursing homes will have to have had their first COVID-19 vaccine dose administered, while other healthcare facilities have until October 7th.
I think that people need to start realizing that when you stand up and say, I want to be a public health official in any capacity, we count on you to be healthy yourselves.
This week, a federal judge put a temporary stop on the order, claiming the state couldn't deny religious exemptions, something the governor says she will fight in court.
I'm not aware of a sanctioned religious exemption from any organized religion. In fact, they're encouraging the opposite. They're encouraging their members, everybody from the Pope on down, is encouraging people to get vaccinated.
Nevertheless, many healthcare facilities are worried that mandates will cause an already growing staffing problem to increase. These shortages are likely to affect the largest hospital in Cattaraugus County, following the resignation of 11 workers this week due to the state's COVID-19 vaccine mandate. According to a statement released by Kaleida Health, leaders at Olean General Hospital fear 250 of their employees will be terminated from their position unless they get vaccinated. The concern over the mandate is shared by Senator Borrello, who commended the federal judge's decision to temporarily block the mandate's lack of religious exemptions. The senator claims that these mandates will hurt rural areas the most and will encourage people to leave the healthcare sector. Borrello urged the State Department of Health to consider offering a testing alternative for unvaccinated workers. Meanwhile, the governor assures that any healthcare facility with staffing issues due to the mandate will be sent help from the state.
I have actually had conversations with the Department of Health and everyone in healthcare in the state of New York to figure out how we can send support if necessary.
Hochul did not specify what or how many resources would be available. Julia Gress, WNY News Now.
Julia, thank you. One local EMS provider is already warning of longer than normal wait times at emergency rooms. That's according to Randolph Regional EMS, who announced the development in a Facebook post overnight. All workers at child care centers in New York now must wear face coverings under a plan announced by Governor Kathy Hochul. The governor said that the requirement is effective now and applies to all staff and visitors at state-regulated child care centers. Hochul cited the rise in COVID-19 cases among kids and the lack of vaccine for children under 12. New York already requires individuals to wear masks in schools, correction facilities, homeless shelters, transportation hubs, and certain healthcare settings like hospitals. Hochul has defended her administration's decision to require masks at schools statewide by arguing that state government has always had the authority to take sweeping steps needed to address a pandemic. And she said mask mandates can keep kids in schools 5 days a week. The governor also said that mask mandates could be eased once infection rates decline and kids can get a vaccine themselves. Well, we thank you for joining us for WNY News Now. Let us know what you think about these stories and more in the comment section down below. We always love to hear from you. It's great to see Larry, good to see Seth, Troy, Bree, David, and Beth. Hopefully you all are having a great day. We appreciate you tuning in. And those of you who might be watching us on your television too, you can catch us on channel 716. It's a free local Roku app. Just search channel 716 and click that add channel lineup button today. One thing that we're always looking out for is Chief Forecaster Dakota Hunter, who's coming to us now with a first look at our weather forecast. And one of the big kind of, I don't want to say it's an obstacle that you're trying to work through this week with all the rain, Dakota, but was the fact that we didn't have the Buffalo radar, and I see it looks like work well underway there to get that.
Yes, this was just shared by the Weather Service in Buffalo probably about a half hour ago. This is what the internals of the radar looks like. This thing right here is the pedestal. This is why the Buffalo radar has been down all week, because they are currently in the process of putting a new pedestal on. So this is what you normally see, this dome. It looks like a soccer ball, but it's called the radome. The actual radar dish sits inside of here, and the radar dish sits on that pedestal. And that pedestal is original to the radar. The radar was installed in 1996, so that's almost 30 years of constant rotation, 1 revolution per minute, up and down, constant rotation. So it's a good thing that that pedestal is getting replaced, because it needs it. But yeah, that radar is going to be down probably for the remainder of the week and probably into next week as well. But we don't need the radar today. Lots of sunshine over the Chautauqua institution, 66 degrees. It's a warmer day out there than it was yesterday. So enjoy the warmth and the sunshine while we have it. The satellite picture really not showing you much in the way of clouds either. There's a few high clouds across Cattaraugus County. Otherwise, that's it. The day today is really going to be dry, so get out and enjoy it. 72 was the high yesterday. Started the day at 49, 94, and 27 are the record highs and lows. So just loads of sunshine through the afternoon. A few clouds dotting the sky. Otherwise, that's it. 73 to 77 with an east wind. Now, the summer air continues as we go throughout the weekend into early next week. We'll tell you where those temperatures are headed, along with that 7-day forecast later in the show. Justin?
Yeah, certainly we'll keeping our eyes on that and hopefully keeping the thermostats low. Dakota, thank you. A panel discussion about what legalization of recreational marijuana means for Chautauqua County took place in Fredonia last night. with one expert sounding the alarm about teens using the drug. Experts from the field of law enforcement to health industries met at the Fredonia Opera House for the hour-long conversation, taking questions directly from the public in attendance. The director of Prevention Works, Melanie Winiski, says she's concerned with how the community as a whole can protect youth, specifically because Chautauqua County has been identified as one of the unhealthiest areas in New York State.
Adding another substance is going to, I think, cause a little bit of concern, especially for our youth. Intervention services is what we provide. We work with youth ages 13 on up, providing a harm reduction approach called Teen Intervene. It's a brief intervention program. And it's not telling youth not to smoke marijuana, but it's let's limit when you're using it. Let's not use it before you're going to school. Let's not use it during the week when you're trying to learn and remember information that you're being presented to.
She says teenagers don't make the best decisions already and fears adding another legal substance could compound the already ongoing issues like vaping, underage drinking, and smoking. Use of marijuana is permitted statewide. However, municipalities have until the end of the year to decide whether they would prevent cannabis sales in their local governing districts. So far, several communities have already opted out of allowing dispensaries in their neighborhoods, including the towns of Chautauqua and Gary, villages of Bemis Point, Casadega, and Lakewood. Well, every 10 years, every state is required to draw new district lines, and the New York State Independent Redistricting Committee is creating a draft map based on their recent census data. Yesterday, that committee released their first draft of the new district lines, only this time the commission couldn't come to agreement and released more than one congressional drawing for a Senate and Assembly draft map. Lexi Cutmore with our news partner WENY has insight on what that map could look like by next year.
I would rather we had one and would reflect the consensus that would be necessary for us to put our combined weight behind a single product.
Some redistricting committee members attribute their division to the time constraint created by the COVID-19 pandemic.
We only received the data on August 12th. We barely had a month with this data, and we've done our best efforts at trying to represent communities of interest across the state.
According to the committee, there is a 10% deviation in agreement on where the district line should fall. And Assemblyman Phil Palmisano says the final product should be as close to zero as possible.
It's an independent redistricting commission, but the appointees are political appointees, and that it's going to, I would think, play itself out a little bit in this process, but it shouldn't.
Some maps, like the congressional map, indicate that New York will lose one seat, and the lines need to compensate for that loss.
I think this really plays out specifically when we talk about the congressional district, because of losing a congressional district in the state of New York is not a good thing, and now how those lines are drawn from here is what needs to be determined. And I think that's the case that has continued to be talked about as far as a southern tier-based seat, whether that will happen or whether we'll see more of a Finger Lakes-based seat.
The lines determine who will represent people in villages, towns, and cities throughout the Empire State. Palmisano believes the committee will group people together based on their needs.
We'll see where they go moving forward as far as drawing the maps. These are the first maps. I don't expect these to be the final maps.
Nothing is set in stone. Everything that was released today are drafts, and the public is encouraged to comment and suggest changes to the redistricting committee.
Lexi, thank you. Coming up, why our senator is pushing to modernize dairy pricing and how the current system could be hurting local farms. And later, what toys made the cut for this year's Toy Hall of Fame lineup? Stay with us as WNY News Now continues.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
Located along the Amish Trail, the Randolph Retail Company offers a variety of clothing, jewelry, and gifts for any occasion. Offering uptown merchandise at small-town prices, our locally owned business balances quality and value. With complimentary gift wrap here at the Randolph Retail Company, we pride ourselves in personal service. Check out our Facebook page or stop in today at 127 Main Street, Randolph, just a 20-minute drive from Jamestown.
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvan Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
Welcome to Honest John's Pizzeria, where you are the most important customer.
Everything from freshly made subs to the best of pizza and wings, Honest John's has it all.
And don't forget the ice cream!
Order online today or check out our 2 great locations with buffets ready for every appetite.
Don't I have the best job in the world?
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
New York's voice in the U.S. Senate is pushing to modernize the federal dairy pricing system. U.S. Senator Kirsten Gillibrand held a hearing on the subject in Washington. Gillibrand chairs the Senate Agricultural Subcommittee on Livestock, Dairy, Poultry, Local Food Systems, and Food Safety and Security. The Democrat says the current system of paying farmers for their milk is based on a marketing formula that dates back decades.
The system is inadequate and out of date. We are using an almost 100-year-old system, which had its last major reform more than 20 years ago, for pricing for an industry where no dairy farmer is running their farm the way they would have 100 years ago.
The committee heard from dairy economic experts and small dairy farmers who say that demand for fluid milk is rigid, meaning that customers don't buy when the price is low or less. There isn't much of a supply or demand. Gillibrand is pushing for milk marketing reforms to help update the current system to the 21st century. Well, the debate over the debt ceiling is heating up again on Capitol Hill. Lawmakers are facing another key deadline in just a few weeks. Our Washington correspondent Matt Knadler explains what it could mean for economic recovery and your wallet.
As Democrats forge ahead on their proposed $3.5 trillion spending plan to shore up the nation's social safety net, a new challenge to prevent the U.S. from defaulting on its debt and to avoid a government shutdown by the end of the month.
To prevent both of these from happening, it will require bipartisan cooperation.
Let me be crystal clear about this. Republicans are united in opposition to raising the debt ceiling.
So here is where things stand. The Treasury Department says by not raising the debt ceiling, the federal government will be unable to pay its bills in October. Democrats need Republican support to do that. They also hope to pass that $3.5 trillion spending plan, which is part of the budget, by the end of September without Republican support.
So if they want to do all of this on a partisan basis, they have the ability and the responsibility to ensure that the federal government not default.
Most recently in 2019, Congress suspended the debt ceiling. That deal ended in July. Now lawmakers on both sides of the aisle fear defaulting on the national debt will damage the country's economic recovery from the pandemic.
3 times Democrats voted when Trump was president to renew the debt ceiling. We didn't play games. We didn't risk the credit of the country. We did it. And that's been the history.
Democrats could add that debt ceiling agreement to their budget plan, but some within the party have concerns that the $3.5 trillion budget plan will have on the national debt. And so there could be some disagreement within the Democratic Party about actually raising the debt ceiling.
So I'm not willing to just do an unconditional vote on that, and I think other members feel the same way.
In Washington, Matt Knadler reporting.
The Pennsylvania Public Utility Commission has approved National Fuel's request to reduce rates and provide refunds to customers to return $50 million in excess funds that were collected to cover benefits for retired employees. Residential, commercial, and industrial customers will be eligible for this savings. The one-time credit will be $100 for current residential and $250 for commercial. The average annual savings rate reductions will be $53 for residential and $106 for those commercial customers. The ongoing savings on monthly bills will consist of a reduction in base delivery rates and a temporary refund rate that could last for 5 years. The savings are expected to start this October. Well, Cabbage Patch Kids, the rosy-cheeked dolls that left store shelves picked clean during the first big holiday toy craze, are up for a spot in the National Toy Hall of Fame, part of a final group announced yesterday that also includes garden variety sand and a toy fire engine. Among the finalists for consideration for the November induction are 5 competitive games: Battleship, Risk, The Settlers of Canton, Mojang, and Billiards, as well as a piñata, American Girl doll, Masters of the Universe, Fisher-Price Coin Poppers 2. Now, the 2021 finalists were pulled from thousands of nominations in the National Toy Hall of Fame received each year. Anyone can nominate a toy, and a panel of experts, along with input from the public, will then vote on 3 to be inducted. To be inducted, they must have withstood the test of time and memory, changed play, or fostered a learning, creative, and discovery environment. Now, Dakota fans are invited to vote for their favorite part of this Player's Choice ballot. That closes on September 22nd. We have more info now on our website. Pretty cool. And a lot of those toys are really, really big name out there. They're toys we all know. I remember that.
Else had the push popper?
Yeah, that's exactly. I remember that as a kid.
I
all
drove
day.
my parents crazy with that thing.
I'm sure a lot of people did. Let us know what you guys think about this and more in the comment section down below. Well, let's now get to our full weather forecast. And I was just looking outside. It seems like we've been talking, kind of complaining a little bit about the rain, but that's not the case today.
No, we've got some good sunshine out there. Now, I wanted to show a graphic because our friend David Walter from WNY News Now posted this on social media this morning, and we had to create our own version of it. The real seasons of Western New York. And he threw this out, and we just needed to create our own version. So we have winter, full spring, second winter, all the way down to actual fall. We're right here on the second summer. That's where we're at right now. And so fall's not here just quite yet. So we got to thank Dave Walter for this. And
oh my God, this is great.
Yes, so this is our own version of it. He threw this out on social media this morning, and we just had to create our own version of it. So I mean, that's one of the great benefits of being, news partners with Lily Broadcasting. We can share graphics like that back and forth. But tomorrow, Friday Night Lights game of the week, Jamestown back home against Frontier at Strider Field, 76 at kickoff. Now, there will be a chance for a couple showers or storms, especially after halftime into the second half of the game. But it's not going to be everywhere rain, and it's only a small chance as well. So, of course, we'll keep our eyes on it, but do be prepared for at least a couple rain showers. No clouds downtown from the HD News Now cam. Right now, we are perched at 73, I think, is our current temperature. But anyway, whatever the current temperature is, it's nice out there. I think we're around 60-something, whatever. There it is, 67 with a variable wind. Now, let's talk about the next weather maker, which really is the warmth. As we talked about, summer is not going anywhere. Look at the high temps over the next 5 days. 75 today, 79 tomorrow, 78 Saturday, up to 81 on Monday. So it's really going to be feeling more like summer around here, as that graphic just told you. We're in the second season, or the second instance of summer. And you'll see that the summer air really is going to continue here through at least the end of the month here. This is the 8 to 14 day temperature outlook, and really warmer temperatures favored across the entire Northeast. So yeah, if you want the fall air, just have to keep looking here. High pressure built into our north, that's helping to clear out the cloud cover as well. But notice not a whole lot of clouds across Western New York today, and Future Scan shows you that idea. Really just a few passing clouds from time to time. That's it. Otherwise, a good amount of sunshine, partly to mainly clear tonight. Tomorrow should be a nice day. Notice how Future Scan does pop up an isolated shower. It's not out of the question. You could see an isolated shower, but really it's a small chance. We really didn't put it in the forecast for tomorrow, but there could be a chance for that. And then by the time we go into Saturday, we'll see at least a couple scattered showers. But again, not everybody is going to get wet, and it's not all day rain either. So just a couple passing showers from time to time. Temperatures likely lower to mid 70s across the area today. Enjoy the sunshine, warmer than it was yesterday, and the humidity not too bad either. How about the future? It's right there on the screen. for you. 79 tomorrow. The humidity ticks up. Again, there's those few showers on Saturday. We keep a good stretch of weather going from Sunday all the way to Tuesday with some nice warm air. And then by the time we go into Wednesday, we'll see a chance for an isolated shower or two. We'll take a break. Be right back.
With coverage that matters. This is WNY News Now.
Right here, baby. Look. Uma.
Something more than a birthday is happening here. Once you can see it, you can help. The sooner you recognize the signs of autism, the sooner you can make a lifetime of difference for your child. Start by answering a few simple questions at screenforautism.org.
How prepared is your family if a hurricane shows up at your doorstep, or a flood, or a blizzard? You can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to ready.gov/plan now. It has the tools and tips you need to make an emergency plan with your family. So if disaster comes knocking,
Let's go.
You'll be ready to help keep your family safe.
It's just a pizza. Yes.
Make a plan today.
You're watching WNY News Now, your source for breaking news.
Well, for the first time ever, a manned spaceflight is now in high Earth orbit without a trained astronaut on board.
The SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket roared into space last night carrying 4 people in the first ever all-tourist mission.
Now, liftoff occurred at 8:02 from NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida. The passengers will spend 3 days aboard their 13-foot wide Crew Dragon capsule in orbit at 350-mile altitude, 100 miles higher than they were if they were in the International Space Station.
Well, if all goes to plan, they will return to Earth by splashing down off the coast of Florida on Saturday. Now, Jared Isaacman, a 38-year-old billionaire, financed the trip and says this is a big step for space tourism.
Oh, definitely is. Now, in addition to Isaacman, other crew members include Haley Arsenauk, a 29-year-old cancer survivor, 42-year-old Chris Sembrowski, a Lockheed Martin worker who won his seat in an online raffle. Boy, he's lucky. And 51-year-old Sand Proctor, a geologist and community college teacher.
You could have put a group of people together from all over the country, and you would still have a set of unique stories behind each person. So I think when you think of the word ordinary, you're not necessarily thinking of bland, boring people, because everyone has an extraordinary story. We are just the lucky few that have the extraordinary opportunity to be together and to share in this incredible journey.
Yeah, it really is. There's been a lot of talk about opening up space travel to everyone, which is really SpaceX's founding mission, to make humanity multiplanetary, colonizing Mars, for example. And in order to do that, you have to prove that an everyday person is capable of dealing with the rigors of orbital spaceflight. And that's exactly what Inspiration 4's crew is going to do over the next several days. So we certainly wish them luck, and it kind of blows my mind to be in space with, yes, they have training, but astronauts, I mean, they've trained for probably most of their career, and these, folks are I don't want to say everyday Joes, because they all come from, very incredible storylines and backgrounds, but nevertheless, it blows my mind.
And I mean, I don't know.
Would you do it if you could?
I don't know, quite frankly.
Yeah, I think I would.
See, I have a fear of flying. That's my thing. I have a fear of flying. So
if somebody said, for
knowing
me to
all
go
my
to space,
luck, I'll be on board. The rocket will blow up. We'll come crashing down to Earth. We'll land in a lake, never to be found again.
Yeah, that is the fear, I guess, and that's sort of probably some of the thrill seekers, right? They might feel to be an astronaut, you probably have to have that bravery.
I'm a weenie,
so I think I would do it.
I go to Weenie Hut Juniors.
But then when I would get in there, I'd probably be too afraid. Great to see Travis, Pam, and Corey. Let us know what you guys think about this and more in the comments down below. Would you guys go to space? Would you not go to space? Would you say you'd go and then be too afraid.
And they chicken out at the last
Yeah.
minute.
Which is realistically,
You're
I say
in
I
line,
would go.
and then all
but
of a sudden you'll be like, "Oh yeah, I can't go today. I forgot. I have something to do," and then hightail it back to your car.
I'm not feeling very well. Can you excuse me? That's it for us today. News continues 24/7 at WNYNewsNow.com. We are back tomorrow with our TGIF edition. We hope to see you then.